Hello, good evening. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2018. It's a new year, it's a new day. So, tonight we're going to have a very special New Year's journal hookum. I am sitting here in a spirit of gratitude and appreciation. And I wanted to share with all of you some of my past appreciations, like my list of what I'm grateful for in 2017. And I can tell you, you are all on my list because this was the year when I was able to be of service, just showing up in this group and being a part of creating it with Tom. If it wasn't for Tom finding me this past year, I don't know what would have happened. You know, like I don't do the woulda, coulda, shoulda, because I see that everything has a flow to it. And when I just embrace, for example, the direction that my soul is flowing and just allow it instead of resisting, because the resistance is what creates the suffering, right? So whenever we have this gut instinct, right, we have this intuition, this into me I see, it's an opportunity to recognize that you have the wisdom, you have the knowledge, you have everything you need to know within yourself. And sometimes it drops in like that, and other times there's a conflict between the head and the heart, right? The head can so easily get caught up in what it thinks and believes and expects because it's attached to the ideas that have come from conditioning, from your personal experiences. You know, we only know what we know. Well, we don't know until we know it, right? And so quite often, that whole idea of taking a leap of faith, that whole idea of stepping into the unknown, creates a whole inner conflict. And the mind is the first one to act like, whoa, 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 we got you covered here. We have your best interest at heart. When maybe in your own heart, your own gut instinct, you're feeling like, I know this feels uncomfortable, but something about it feels right too, right? So for myself, I took a lot of leaps of faith this past year. I had my challenges, I've had my success/failures, but to me, there's really no such thing as failure, because we are along our life are guided that when one door closes, a bigger one opens. And then even when we think something hasn't worked out, it's just still going along in a direction that just isn't perfectly aligned with this mental vision that we're attached to. So sometimes we have to give and surrender over to the idea that our vision is not necessarily going to look the way we want it to or feel the way we want it to, but that we have to open ourselves to the possibility that it's going to be better than we could have ever imagined it, right? Which is why every morning, one of the first things I proclaim is, show me, universe, God, source, highest sacred divine source of all, my highest divine self. You know, I just put it up there to the source of all that is, okay? That's my personal thing, because I feel I'm part of source. And so why not? If I'm connected, I'm part of it, you're part of it, we're all part of it. Show me what you got that's bigger, better, and more amazing than I could ever want, wish, or desire. And bring it on. Because there's a surprise. And it's, you know what? If we try to hold this exact picture perfect vision of something, that's going to be the first cause of our suffering when it doesn't come to that fruition. Because that's creating a resistance from the what could be to what you insist on being, right? So Our suffering comes from the way we expect things to look and feel and enhance our senses versus what could be even that much better. So for me, again, going back over 2017, some of the beautiful occurrences in my life I've been able to contribute to watching last year's Kundalini Yoga teacher training, all of the students I supported graduating, becoming teachers. And now again, I'm in my second year of supporting the Kundalini Yoga teacher training here. And it's a gift, it's a blessing to be in service for that. And I get so much out of it, just as much as I feel I'm serving. And it could be that maybe I'm serving more or maybe I'm receiving more. And you know what? This is the synchronicity of life. When we give, we receive. Even receiving is giving. You can't get one without the other. It's the resistance, again, to allowing yourself to receive or disallowing yourself to give that creates that push-pull that if you don't allow one or the other, you hold energy in this pattern of stagnation. And that's where your suffering is going to come from. It's attachment. It's attachment to all these belief systems that create suffering. This has been my personal experience. I can tell you from many different experiences how much I held these visions of how I wanted things to be, how at this point in my life I should be living a certain lifestyle, and that, at 43 years old, God forbid that I ever have any hardships. But you know what? I found that there's more richness in my life now than there was when I had a stable, steady, very stressful, high stress government contracting job that paid me 6+ figures. And during those years, I was a workaholic. I was giving always more than I should. I mean, I didn't take a lot of time for my own self-care. In fact, my idea of self-care was, let's go out drinking, let's go out partying, let's have late nights. And then I had physical ailments that were a result of dis-ease in my mind that I lodged in my body. That looking back at 2008, when I lost my job, I was just pushing. I was trying to force my life instead of allowing it. I had cervical spine issues. I was on medication for it. I could only sleep on my right side because my entire left side, my left arm was atrophied. I had nerve pain. I was on gabapentin and Neurontin. It was the most uncomfortable feeling. I don't wish that on anybody. Neck pain, trying to turn my head, driving a Mini Cooper on cobblestone roads in Naples, Italy, single woman, nobody to take care of me. I've always pushed and taken care of myself. Most all of my life, I have not allowed anyone to help me. I've been the strong one, the oldest daughter, the one to prove everything, to prove I can do it myself. Feeling like I am the only one who could take care of myself. And that nobody else could do it for me, even if they offered. I didn't even know how to take an offer of help. I didn't know how to take a compliment a lot of times. It's still sometimes humbling if somebody tells me I'm beautiful or tells me I'm pretty or you're so intelligent or you're so wise. Sometimes that's difficult for me too, even today. Because for a long time I didn't have that self-worth or that strong, I had a little bit of an ego more than anything else. Like, I knew I could do it because I did it. I knew what I was capable of because I did it. And I knew I was good at my job. Nobody had to tell me because I proved it to myself. And I probably have always been my biggest competitor, my hardest criticizer. Like, you couldn't tell me anything I didn't already tell myself within myself. And it was amplified, which is why I have so much compassion for anyone out there that struggles with negative self-talk. Because this mind is constantly telling me how I've got so much more that I need to get accomplished, so much more that I need to do. That my issues with time management are really a matter of taking time and just being kinder and gentler on myself, right? And the hardest thing about being kind in the mind is that recognizing how much I've already done and how much I've accomplished in my life. And so today I come to you on the 1st of January. Happy New Year, all. I see you all chiming in to let you know how grateful I am for all of you. Because if it wasn't for all of you showing up, for all of you being a part of this amazing Rock and Rad Star family, I wouldn't have someone to inspire me to show up, right? So for years I blogged, I've done my own live videos, because I just wanted to find a way to document a lot of stuff that I myself have experienced, the wisdom that I feel has dropped into my life, whether you call it downloads or channeling or just insight, intuition into me I see. Because it's all a part of me, it's all a part of you. When it resonates with you, all it's telling you is that that in itself is an aspect that you yourself knew too. It's like a reawakening of the knowledge when somebody says it to you. Hi Elizabeth and Deb and Laura, nice to have you here tonight. Hi Mark. And so the wisdom that one person has that we are drawn toward inevitably is the wisdom that resides within us already. And when it resonates, it just means it was a reawakening of the knowing of that within you, within me, within whoever it is that hears it, sees it, feels it, right? So again, thank you all. Thank you all for being a part of this amazing community, family, group. Because you're all so very special and you all have a beautiful story and it's all relevant. And it's important. You're important. And I want you to know I see you and I hear you and I feel you. I can't experience your experiences, but I feel you and I feel the love that we've really cultivated in this community, because I see how you are there for one another. And to me, that is the biggest gift of 2017, is seeing people come together truly to unite and to be part of a supporting, uplifting, inspiring, and empowering community. This is something that I want to see go global. And the reason I say that is not for me, but for all the people who were like me, who didn't have that. I have my local goddess group. But you know what? That's what this is about, the web of inclusion. It's about embracing one another. It's really making it a larger movement, a movement of energy, flowing energy that embraces and dances with one another, that we collectively can accept one another even if we disagree. That even in the hardest times, we can be there to remind each other, don't give up before the miracle. Believe in miracles. The mind can tell you what you should be doing and how things should look. But in your heart, you know. You know. Right? Right, Terry and Kristen? Hi, Lexi. Hi, beautiful. The heart knows, and most often that heart will actually bow to the head because it doesn't want to be in an argument. It just is okay. You know what? if the head is that strong, if the mind, the ego is so strong, then it will find its way to overpower the heart. But this is where awareness and mindfulness comes in, and why it's so important to meditate, why it's so important to be present in this moment right here, right now, and to breathe. If you could do nothing else, just simply tuning in and having just mindful breathing. We're going to do a short little breath awareness meditation here in a moment. But I just really wanted to say thank you, everyone, for all of you just being you and showing up. And if you haven't gone live, I'm just letting you know that I look forward to seeing you go live. I look forward to sharing more of you with the group. And really just seeing you all thrive in this new year. This is your group, this is your community. And the most important thing that you can do is just be you and show up for one another. Even on the times when you may not be feeling 100%, showing up in the group can make all the difference, right? Some of you have already experienced that. And so, this has been a very busy, challenging year for myself. I've really made some major life changes. I have taken some leaps of faith and allowed myself to be vulnerable and courageous and open and humbled and in a space of myself that I had never been before. I'm behind on my taxes. Not exactly where I need to be. I really needed to get them done. I did make an attempt tonight, and then I learned that the tax software is going to be the challenge, because I'm talking going back to 2011 and 12. I used to be the person who was always meticulously on time, everything paid, pristine, crystalline credit like you wouldn't believe. And then there was a point where I was just like, why? What am I doing this for? And I kind of have to admit, I just let it all go. You know, when I went into a depression when I lost my job in 2008, but then not the type of depression where I sat around. It was the kind of one where I just went into a little bit of a destructive behavior and patterns and just wanted to live because I hadn't been living. I was working. And I just wanted to have some fun and enjoy myself. So I went through some of those roller coaster rides and just changing things up and living out of boxes and suitcases for months and years. But we do that, right? And that's the part where I can look back and go, wow, I'm actually grateful, because if it hadn't have been for all those trials and tribulations, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I wouldn't be the person I am today. And so, you know, I wouldn't have seen the patterns I took on from my parents, that I was in an abusive relationship, one that most of the people who knew me had said to me, oh my God, Lana, what are you doing? That is so not you. I was dating a man who was not only an alcoholic, but he had a drug addiction. He did coke. He'd tell you that, no, I don't have an addiction. I don't have to do it. And then the minute it was exposed to him, he had to do it. And other stuff too. I mean, and funny enough, and I held a top secret clearance. Go figure. But did I participate in it? No, because I had a strong enough will to say that stuff didn't interest me. But I was drinking beautiful red wines, white wines. The man was, you know, had a very well-known family in Naples, and we ate well and we drank well. And I don't know, sometimes we're drawn to people and they're meant to bring out something in us. We serve one another in relationship, right? There was something within that relationship that needed to come forth, and that was the pattern that I had taken on. It was also the compromises of my mind, body, and soul that I placed myself in to recognize I was worth more, that I deserved more. And I also got to see how I turned to alcohol because of physical pain. That was the year I was dealing with the cervical spine issues and dealing with the chronic pain that I have been healing over these years. And yeah, it was humbling to look at those experiences and how my destructive behavior actually told me everything I needed to know. And so coming home and seeing my father and my dad's his wife passed away actually now almost 8 years ago. And no, it was almost 7 years ago. So it was a rough year, a rough time frame, let's say. But as soon as I saw the pattern, let me tell you, that's when I made this strong, because I have a strong will. I made a conscious choice. This stops now with me. This legacy, this pattern of behavior, I knew I needed to change that, not just for myself, but my family. And anybody else I was ever to get involved with after that point. Because you know what? If you're not healthy with yourself, what makes you think you're going to attract a healthy partner? And a healthy partner, we all want one. But if we're not healthy, how can we contribute to them? And so for many years, I was celibate and single and not dating and not interested. Of course, there were plenty of people, thank you, Carla. There were plenty of people interested in pushing boundaries and limits. And, you know, there were some periods in there over those years where I fell back into, like, let's call them friends with benefits or relationships that were convenient. And one was with a man that I dated off and on for over 10 years. But it had actually been a good friend to me. And and I knew my circumstances and I had no attachment to anything. And so that's what it was. And you know what? Jan Levan Zant says there are relationships we call in the meantime. And if you're aware of that, then you're not attached to it and you just take it for what it is. And sometimes we serve each other in ways of just companionship, right? Or affection, or whatever it is we feel we need at the time. But if you're honest with yourself and you're honest with the other person, isn't that all that ever matters? When you're not full on telling it like it is, all you're doing is hurting yourself and another person. Most of the times it's more yourself. Because again, it's a form of manipulation when you're not straight up with somebody and you're not honest. If you desire more than what you're getting, and you're just holding on with hopes of something else, it's going to end in suffering. And so, moving on, these years have been they've been challenging, but I'll tell you, as I've gone along, they've gotten easier because of the fact that I no longer catch myself so attached to the way it's supposed to look. And so knowing that it's a surprise, and that if my heart guides me in a certain way, you know, it's okay. And I can tell you, there are times intuitively I know, and my mind will try to step in and say, but I have to step into my power center. I have to step into the moment and just breathe into it and go, it's okay, we've got this. I am here now in this. This discomfort, this dis-ease of the mind is simply a distraction from knowing what truly in my heart I know is going to be all right. And I can all attest to each and every one of you that even in this past year, over the years, whenever I've desired to do something and the money wasn't there, it's always appeared. Miraculous, whatever you want to call it. If it's been meant for me and I felt in my heart this is going to happen, I don't know how, It's always worked out. But you know, the key is in just staying true to you and just holding that to yourself. You don't have to share it with anybody else. I can tell you the story after the facts. But the reality is that everything always works out in our best interest, even if at the time it feels like hell. And I'm telling you that because maybe you're going through some struggle right now. Maybe you're resisting the fact that the trepidation, the fear of it not working out, or the fear that you're going to fail is really your mind feeling the shift coming, feeling the change around the corner, feeling that we're coming up to the top of the mountain. And that, believe it or not, the mind doesn't know what's good or bad. It just fears what's uncomfortable and unknown. This mind will go into that crazy tailspin because it'll say, but I don't know what that is. It's just like for those of us who never experience a true, deep, passionate love. It's more comfortable to stay in the abusive relationship or the, okay, that's kind of okay, but it, at least I'm comfortable. At least I know the person. But when we don't know something, we have to take a leap of faith. We have to hold courage and faith and vulnerability that around the corner, something we don't know could be that much bigger and better for us. Like I said, when one door closes, a bigger one opens. Quando uno un porto si chiude, si apre un poltrone. Okay, when one small door closes, a bigger one opens is how they say it in Italian. I'm still kind of like a little out of it. But I'm mostly better. At least the cough is out of my chest. And that happened today. I can honestly attest, there have been times where I didn't know what was going to happen. And the beauty is that it was so much better than I ever imagined, that I have to hold faith and trust in whatever's going to be around the corner, even if it doesn't feel comfortable. And like Cheryl, yes, it's being graceful in the most ungraceful situations. It's being present in the moment, being the calm within the storm. Because the anxiety is really created in the mind as a result of the fear of the future. And that fear, most of the times, is unfounded. And it's the delusion. It's an illusion to think that this is the worst case scenario is going to happen. I can tell you right now, most of the times now, when I've had a little jump in the fear department, it was so off track. And it really wasn't what I thought it was going to be based on my past experiences, which is all the mind does. It goes back into the archives thinking, well, this is what's happened, so this is the possibility. And for many of us, we fear the worst because we don't know the best. And it's like the other day, I'm driving my car, for example, and I caught myself. There's a perfectly good green light. And why is my mind going, oh, I hope I make this light. Oh my gosh, is the light going to turn red? Why was my mind already fixated on the possibility that it was going to turn red, when all I had to do was just be present in the moment and grateful that the light was green? It's a little thing like that I can attest my mind goes off in that tailspin. And it's like that in many other cases. Like, why would I expect the worst just because the worst has happened? Why not just allow what is, being grateful for what is in the moment? Because that's where the momentum builds. Being present right here and now and just grateful that, hey, I am sitting in my home. My home is paid for. I bought my house over 3 years ago. 4 years ago, wait a minute. No, oh, wait, we're coming up on 4 years. That's how that works. I don't know, I bought my house almost 4 years ago because I sold my other house. And it was one of the smartest investments I made at the time when I bought my house. I had a house in Maryland when I was still in the Air Force because I had those goals. I'm going to buy a house before I'm 25 was one of my goals. I also decided that I would never get married until after the age of 25 because I felt like I was going to have to live a life up to a certain point. Well, then I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm never going to get married, and that's good too. I'm cool with that. I dropped a lot of my expectations. I mean, how many ladies out there thought the white picket fence syndrome really worked? You know, like, oh, I'm supposed to get married and have a white picket fence, and, you know, I'm supposed to have all this stuff happen. I meet my Prince Charming. Yeah. They don't talk about Prince Charming and what happens afterward, right? But truly, I can tell you that, you know, I bought my house even sooner than that. I think it was 23 or 24 when I bought my house, my first house. And it was a blessing because then I was able to invest the money and then sell the house and buy this one. And so I thank you. And so I'm very grateful because I have a roof over my head. I have a cell phone. You know, I'm able to do lives with y'all. I have an amazing community of beautiful people that support me, and sometimes I forget that I need to reach out to those people too. That when I need my cup filled, that I do have my goddess sisters that are there for me, and I trust in that, and I know that, and I love them dearly. So for example, right before I went to winter solstice, I had an opportunity to spend with them, and it was so sweet because I hadn't seen a lot of them in a long time. And this Wednesday we'll be joining together again because we're going to do a collective vision board because that's what we do. Last year we did a vision board in one girlfriend's home, and I may just bring my last year's vision board and add to it to my girlfriends. So, you know, it's something that I've been doing almost every year now. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's no right or wrong or anything. So if you desire to make a vision board, I'm just going to tell you this. Just create a space for yourself, sit in a meditation beforehand, and just allow yourself to be intuitively drawn to wherever and however it unfolds. Get creative. Let your inner child out. The vision's going to come from here. Don't let the mind get all crazy and, oh, it has to look perfect and it has to be this way and, oh, what's that corner? Just do it. Do what feels and calls to you because everything changes. Hi, Crispy. Hi, Angela. And so here I'm going to invite each and every one of you that are on the show right now watching me, who are watching me, who are joining in this beautiful community. Come to an easy seated position. We're gonna do some breath awareness right now. We're gonna just sit in a nice silent meditation for a few moments. No time frame. You know what? It all depends on where you're at. But please don't be driving and doing this. I want you to all come into a nice comfortable position, whether you're in your bed. You can lay down if you want to. And then just close your eyes down. You can put your hands on your knees in Gyan Mudra. You can place them in your lap with your thumbs touching. Right palm resting in your left palm. You can place your left hand over your heart and your right hand on your belly. This is where I'm going to stay right now because I'm going to I want to feel my breath. I want to tap into my inner child. And I'm inviting each and every one of you to do that as well. So closing your eyes down, I want you to just start breathing long and deep and follow your breath. Listen to the sound of your breath. Feel your breath entering your body, entering through your nose, down your throat, down deep into the pelvic floor, raising out through the belly, up through the diaphragm, up through the chest. And then as you release the breath, let the chest rest, lowering, squeezing in, at the diaphragm flattens and the belly pulls in at the navel point. Inhale. Exhale. And start to tune into your physical body. Really feel, as the breath enters, how it enlivens and enriches the senses and the cells and the organs and the blood. Feel, hear, sense. Be present with all that is, with you, all around you. If there are any sounds other than the sound of my breath, allow them to just be part of the landscape. Allow them to just be. Don't let them distract you, just allow them to be. Allow yourself to just be. Allow yourself to feel that the breath is not just within you, but that every particle within your body is breathing it, not just through your nose, not just through your mouth, but your skin is breathing in all of that air, that prana, that life force. And really uplifting the senses within you and feeling not just your skin, but feeling the energy, the life force that surrounds your physical body, your subtle body, your aura, your auric body. Listen to the sound of your own breath. Allow your mind to just follow it. Feel it. Feel fully the richness that is this physical form you call your body. Allow yourself to feel every age you've ever been, every part of who you have been. Let it all become one with who you are now, embracing every aspect. Embracing even that which might have been uncomfortable and allowing it to be comfortable. Holding yourself, hugging yourself, truly accepting and honoring yourself. Let every aspect of you and that you've ever been catch up to this moment right here and now as we start anew. We rebirth that every aspect of who you've ever been from before birth until this moment is perfectly aligned and conjoined and reunited right here, right now as one. The time and space no longer exists, that you feel you are whole and integrated in all aspects as one in this moment, right here, right now. All knowing, all feeling, all seeing, all hearing, all tasting and touching. This is the being. Breathing in long and deep. Exhaling. Radiating, pulsating. Whatever you feel is real. Let it be every aspect of love, in whatever form comes or drops in for you. Maybe that makes you smile. Maybe you have a giggle and a laugh. As visions from your past come back to your present, even tears of joy or tears of pain, it's all uniquely part of the life you live. You can't know joy without pain, yet they're perfectly aligned with one another. And simply the gift of being in this incarnation, in this physical body, as a result of all we came here to experience. Feeling the energy pulsing in every cell of your body. Notice, where do you feel the energy in your body the most? Maybe it's in your face. Maybe you feel it in your hands. Maybe it's in your shoulders or your heart. Maybe you feel it in your legs, your feet, your back, your buttocks. Take note. Do you feel balanced? Do you feel whole? What drops in for you? What is true for you? Can you be present right here and now with this? Or does it bring up discomfort and dis-ease? Does this bring you peace? Do you feel calm? Do you feel the loving embrace of your own self for you, for yourself? How can you be more for you this year? How can you bring more kindness, more mercy and patience for you, so that you may serve others to your fullest capacity? What is it you would like to experience more in this life, and you'd like to see in full for yourself? To be in service for others means you have to serve yourself first. You have to wear the crown before you can share it. Everything starts with self. Patience, love, compassion, kindness, respect, desire. Slowly, with awareness, start to wiggle your fingers. Maybe wiggle your toes. Roll the shoulders up and back. Let the shoulder blades glide down. Rotate the head. Bring awareness to your physical body and the moment right here. Take a deep breath in and just let an exhale sigh out. We're going to do that again. Inhale together. Sigh that out. And on a third, make this one count, everyone. Inhale deeply. Letting out the last of all this past year is maybe held on to, so that we can start anew in this new year. And so, I hope you enjoyed a little reflective moment for yourself. You can always come back to this later. I'm going to pull out the journals. Hold that thought. Buddy, no licking. He's in his moment. No more lickies. And so, I really wanted to share this section of my journal goes back to 2013 and 14 when I was in my Kundalini Yoga teacher training. And stop, buddy, stop. Sorry about that. I'm serious, no lickies. He's good now. He's just looking at me. He's good. And so, Life is a Practice on December 31st of 2013. Life is a practice. Practice makes perfect, right? How do you practice? Are you consistent? So my own physical challenges for years prior were Candida versus parasites and 40 days of Waheguru Kriya. I felt the shift. Bhakti meditation for women and celestial communication. The Adi Shakti music and the live manifestation. Gu meaning darkness, Ru meaning light. Bringing the darkness to the light, Guru, right? Which resides in each and every one of us. You can't have the dark without the light, or the light without the dark. And that's why it's so important to not choose this versus that, or the good versus the bad. The dark and the light is what makes you up entirely. Oh, beautiful, Carla. Thank you for that. I'm grateful that you got a chance to experience it. So if anybody else out there had missed out on the meditation, you will have an opportunity to watch this again later. Just a simple breath awareness. So some say bringing the darkness into the light, but in essence I wrote, it's about finding the balance and merging and converging the darkness and the light. So neither is visible because oneness has been achieved. They are one together. Not neither or man, mantra, man means mind. The word mantra translates man, mind. Tra, projection. So a mantra is a mind projection, which is why it's so important that you choose a mantra that's a high vibration. And for those of us with very busy, overactive minds, a mantra is very powerful. Because then instead of my monkey mind going into these worst case scenarios, I can chant mantra in my mind. If I listen to it enough, if I chant it myself enough, that's why 40-day, 90-day, 120-day, 1,000-day meditations are so powerful when you're using mantra. Because the more you're chanting it, the more you're training your mind to keep it outside of that negative stuff that comes up. Right? Om Mani Padme Hum. That's a beautiful mantra, Elizabeth. I love that one. I've done that a lot as well. That's another one of my old mantras, right? Om Mani Padme Hum. I like that. That's a beautiful one. Thank you for reminding me. And so, yes, mantra is very powerful. And one of my favorites is Mu Mantra. And I've sang it before for all of you. or even the miracle mantra, which changes the negative to the positive. Excuse me. Make sure you're drinking water. So for me, yeah, like if you have, all you have to do is chant for 5 times, Ek Onkar, Satguru Prasad, Ek Onkar. If your mind is going on a crazy negative tailspin and you can't get it to stop, just start chanting that. Even if 5 times doesn't work, just keep on chanting it. That's what I've done. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. That's another beautiful one from my days of Hatha Vinyasa. I do love that as well. That's a beautiful one. May all beings be happy, right? Yeah, right? And so my favorite, of course, is Mool Mantra. And I like to go to sleep listening to mantra because it helps me sleep more peacefully, but also because it's holding a vibration. When you listen to mantra when you're sleeping, you're setting the course for your own personal vibration. Hi, Christy. And so that's why I like to sleep with mantra. Or when I wake up, I listen to japji because it's a powerful vibration. That can shift you, you don't even realize it. You know, you don't have to know what it's doing, but just listening to it. So the miracle mantra, Ek Onkar Satguru Prasad, Ek Onkar. Or just, you know, like there's from the negative to the positive, or for prosperity, there's so many different mantras you can chant. Yes, it's become part of you, exactly. And so you start to see shifts in your life when you keep your mind focused on a higher vibration than it going into those crazy tailspins, right? So if I get caught up in fear of, oh my gosh, if this doesn't happen, da 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 da, it's easier for me to go into a mantra and not get distracted with all the crazy stuff that goes through my mind. And I get more done when I focus on mantra than I do if I let my mind go on into what I call the monkey mind. You know, that crazy figure 8. It just keeps on going. And so, continuing on, I had written down yearly 2014 affirmations. What will you project for this new year? Intentions. What do you need to let go of, and attachments that no longer serve? And then I wrote down that singing makes my heart happy. And let me tell you, I love to sing. I may not carry the best tune, but I enjoy it. And that's all that matters. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I just want to hear myself. Sometimes that's all that I need, right? We all want to be heard, though, right? There's no doubt in my mind, everybody needs to be heard. We want to feel seen. We want people to see and hear us. You know, that's why it's so important if somebody is speaking to listen, not with the intention to react or respond, but to just truly be present for them and allow them to speak. You know, there are times I want to be heard. Sometimes I don't want to be heard, but we all want to be heard. We all want to be seen. It's part of the human condition. And so, for my 2014, I had a theme that I wrote for my New Year's blog, Work Those Miracles. I don't know if I wrote it or not. I have to look through my old blogs. Let love, allow love, love and be loved was the theme that I wrote down. And my vision board theme was discovered. So I guess I had my Kundalini practicum, and I made a video on the deck of 15 minutes. I pressure washed the pool deck and cleaned it with my dad. That was at my dad's house because I wasn't living here yet. It was before I bought my house. And then I did my practice. I was doing my Kundalini yoga practice. So I had another theme that carried over to the 2nd of January, and it was a child's play theme carried over with manifesting those miracles. So often we think, oh, you know, this isn't going to happen without my help. Have you ever considered that sometimes doing less can actually bring more and allow that grace and that flow and ease in your life? it's impractical for those who are caught up in what we see as the real world because it's tangible. But there's so much that happens that we can't explain either, right? So as children, we never question our innate knowing. There is a wondrous force creating. What we question is on the physical human level. Let the inner child back out to miraculously experience life without overanalyzing from the human element. Life is a playground, so let's have fun. I have always believed that. You can look through old journals that I've always believed in my inner child coming out, because my inner child knows it has always wanted to continue playing. You know, I am still my inner child. And I want to play. And I want to see all of you have fun and play. And to thrive. So, in Nidra, right? Sankalpa, intentions, is what that translates to in Sanskrit. Affirmations, resolutions. Sankalpa, Latin, responsible, fault of blood. This is what I hear. Focus on what we want versus not. Soul uniting cosmic consciousness. What forward momentum flow do you want to evolve? You, your spirit. Planting seeds, short, concise, in present moment tense. While the mind is relaxed, repetitive, consistency. Creating habits that turn into new behaviors. Manifesting miracles. Open heart, ease, flow. Life is magical. What I desire, I create. Make a list of things you want to do more often. And then I went back into body wisdom again. Because it's the awareness of how you feel in your body that's going to tell you what's going on up in the mind. Unwavering trust, concentrated focus and awareness. Consistent action upon intuition. Sensing inward, connecting with the heart. Lose the attachment for the world to silence in order for you to find the silent stillness within. How many of you out there expect everything around you to meet your conditions of what you need versus you finding the stillness and the silence within? That's the true yoga. That's the true mindfulness of that the external circumstances do not create the ease within us, but that we can sit in the chaos in a calmness when we're mindful and aware of if something feels uncomfortable, it's because of something that's going on up here. We can't expect the external world to accommodate us to make us feel better. Because when we get conditioned that, oh, everything's going to work out because I want it that way and this is the way things should be, you know, don't move my cheese. Because if you move my cheese, you're going to upset my comfort zone, right? People can't make us feel better about ourselves. They can't make us feel comfortable. We have to find that within ourselves, right? That's what I found in my life. That if I want something a certain way, I have to make the effort to either sit with the discomfort of it not working or being the way I want it, or taking the action to do it for myself. But then there's also, I've learned, times when it's okay to not have everything picture perfect too. So it's this mindfulness again, and this divine cosmic dance that you know I like to dance. In recognizing how important is it that your mind be right or your heart be happy. It's powerful times we're living in. And really, I'm going to tell you, I haven't shared a lot of what I gleaned at my yoga, the Kundalini winter solstice, but I truly felt embraced. And I can't explain it, that no matter what's going on around me, I have to just sit in calm. and hold that and know that I'm going to be okay. And everybody around me is as well. Lose the attachment for the world to silence in order for you to find the silent stillness within. Thank you, Christine. What we want, it's this inward attention distraction that removes and inhibits you from yourself. What we want and desire on the outside, in the external world, must be cultivated inside first. Stillness is the servant energy of that's so funny how I wrote that. Did I really write that? Stillness in the servant energy of TGIF. And then I put blog. I don't know what I meant by that. That's the funniest thing. Maybe because, we look for excuses. Thank God it's Friday. So we don't have to be still. We can just go crazy, right? Some of the things I wanted to share, and maybe some of you can take some wisdom from this, I don't know, or maybe you can share what your wisdom is that you gleaned from this. I'm sitting here with all my stones, okay? I have rock rhodochrosite and a couple chips. First, I want to share this before I completely forget, because I should have started out with this. Here's how my day started. I realized, and this is funny because I know I talk about this, but there are certain things that happen around me. I can't explain. It's just part of shifting and shaking and moving energy in my life. And the first thing that I did this morning was I broke another glass. And it was my water bottle, okay? So I'm drinking out of a totally new bottle. Yes, it has a label still stuck on it because I can't seem to get this thing off. So I'm in the bathroom, and I'm going to tell you that because the sink water is not reverse osmosis, I may wash my face. Most of the time I wash it in the shower because I have a filter on my shower head. But I always drink reverse osmosis water, Vasa, agua. I had a full glass of water. I always put it on the side of the sink. I didn't even touch it. It fell over. Broke in the sink. It was about 3/4 full. It's just ironic because it's the first of the year. And I already know everything's going to be okay. I feel like this year is going to just keep on being that much better because I had so many beautiful things that occurred this past year. Carrying that forward, by the way. What it is, I don't know, but I don't need to. I don't want to attach to it or label it. I just know. To me, it's a good sign. I'm like, thank you. Okay? Cleo's... I have a mermaid in my bathroom, and her tail just broke off right before, I guess when I left to go to winter solstice. I didn't know about it until I came home, and I was looking at it going, what happened here? And it turned out, Tom told me, well, it fell off when you left. And I was like, huh? And she's repaired now. She's back on the wall. But the first thing that happened this morning, because I put her up there last night, was the water broke. The glass broke. The second thing that happened, a light bulb popped in my office space where I was getting ready to do my taxes. Now, as far as the third thing, I don't know that there's a third thing or not. But this is the irony in my life. A lot of times things happen in threes in my life. I'm the oldest of 3 girls. I'm technically the third, if you count me as the middle of my half-brother and sister that were born before. I have a 3 path, like numerology and stuff like that. 3s and 1s, and, it's phenomenal. Numbers have always fascinated me. I've seen 1111 a lot lately, which usually, it's like walking through portals for me. Um, and so, this was just ironic, right? It was another play, right? And so I'm like, okay, cool. It's a good start to the new year. That's how I interpreted it. And there's a lot of reflection going on, and I know I'm not the only one. We're all sitting here going, I don't know what to expect. What is my path? Am I doing the right things? We're questioning ourselves. We're going into self-doubt. It's also a full moon, y'all. It's a full moon in Cancer. And what is Cancer? Cancer's all about home. It's all about, security, stability. Cancer's ruled by the moon. It's emotions, right? So we are so deeply affected by the moon and our emotions. 70% water, people. Are you just not noticing it's a super moon too? Which means it's really being felt within us. There's nothing wrong with going within, because again, we're always expanding or contracting at all times. And so to start off the new year, we have a lot of things going through us. And a lot of people, when I was at winter solstice, my feeling, my intuition, I felt really good. And the reason I think I felt so good is because I've been through so much in my life already that I've learned to trust. And sometimes that trust is not always easy, and I know that. And I went through a lot of anger over the years. Anger shows you care. Yeah, kicking my arse too, I know, I feel ya. And anger shows you care. What does anger do? It shows that you have a vested interest, or you wouldn't even get angry. You'd walk away like, whatever. And so sometimes you need to show anger. Hey, Ella, Tamara. Sometimes you have to show anger in order to take the initiative to also take action. It might be your motivation. There's nothing wrong with anger. If it motivates you to do what you feel needs to be done, I've had anger that popped up in my will, went, okay, that's it, I'm done. Back when I was referring to my abusive relationships prior, right? My anger put me into the mode of no more. And as soon as I made the choice to do that, I shifted my life, and I knew it. Because I know in my heart, when I have this strong will that something is going to change, something is going to shift, and I'm going to allow that. I'm putting it into action. It starts up in here, and it comes out of here. For myself first. And then I watch it unfold, and it looks like a miracle to some. I've made choices in my life, and like overnight, things have happened. And that's been my personal experience. So, sitting in solstice, it was a different energy than previous years. Every year I feel like I see and feel the theme of how the next year is going to unfold. So what came to me, yeah, fire sign, I'm a Leo, right? So I'm a Leo with the Libra. I'm all about balance and trying to bring harmony and always trying to hold. I'll tell you what, having a Libra ascendant, it's always for me been that I want to make sure everybody's happy and taken care of, but my Leo fiery side, I also have like that drive. And then I have a Capricorn moon, which is all about me being hard on myself. So the energies, the feelings that I was getting during this White Tantra event, this winter solstice, I feel good about it. But I know a lot of people aren't. And they're feeling like they're on shaky ground. That's what I sensed while I was in Lake Wales this time around. There's a lot of self-doubt, a lot of fear coming up for people, a lot of frustration, a lot of acting out, a lot of reactionary emotions coming to surface, which is all perfect. Because that's the only way you can be aware, and the only way that you can take initiative and steps in your life to change, to shift. Because shift happens a lot of times before you realize it. And the only way awareness happens is when you go through certain experiences in your life, right? Just like I believe I already shared this in one of my other videos, that there was a point on the last day of White Tantra that as we were chanting Guru Ramdas, which was one of the most powerful chants that particular morning, and my partner and I were speaking later, I said, oh my gosh, I felt so embraced, so supported. I can't even put words to it, because it was that special. The idea that everything's okay and that you can surrender to something that you can't explain. And when I say surrender, I'm not saying, oh, I wash my hands of it and I walk away. No, I mean truly just trusting that you're going to be okay. And not allowing your mind to put you in that crazy tailspin of, oh my God, I got to do, what am I going to do? What am I, you know, like the chaos that is created up in the mind is what is causing us the most suffering. It's the most pain comes from here. The pain doesn't come from here. We feel it everywhere else because it responds and reacts to the mind. But when I stepped away for right toward the end of that day, and we were having a break, and I was just in a very peaceful space, even with all that hot, crazy arm stuff, the whole time I felt like I was supported. I didn't even feel like I did it. Like there was something more powerful than myself doing what I did and what I was participating in. There was a man that I stepped over to, and I asked him how he was doing, and he would just totally looked befuddled. His face was like, he looked like he didn't even know what he came through. And he said, I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't do anything but surrender. I said, good for you. That's all you can do. And he kind of, for a moment, he took it in, and then his mind spit it out like, I'm so sick of people telling me what to do. And I was like, oh, like he reacted. And I just held that and held him and let what he said go. And I went back to my seat and I was like, wow, okay. That's exactly what I was feeling. There's a lot of anger coming up for people that don't know. They're in the fear zone. And let me tell you, the next morning when he came through the gate when I was working and he apologized, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, because I realized, you know what, sometimes somebody has to go through the anger to recognize the peace comes after. We have to get angry sometimes. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Any emotion that comes up, it's just showing you what it is that you yourself need to confront and work on, or work through, or feel fully. You know, you have to feel it to heal it. That's what I found in my life. If I don't feel something fully because I just kept on pushing it away, how can that come to conclusion? How can that move through us? You know, energy's supposed to stay in motion. Well, that's what emotion is, energy in motion. When you hold on to it, all you're doing is keeping yourself stuck and stagnating. That pranic life force isn't flowing, because that's all what that is. We all need to be at ease, and then we have to find it within ourselves and not expect something outside of us to do it for us. So this is something I feel that, and I can't speak for anybody else, and I hope that you're in a good space. That no matter what comes up, embrace it. Embrace it all, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. It can only get better, but sometimes you have to feel it fully through, because it was never fully felt at the time it originated. Because any dis-ease, any pain that's stuck in us, physically, emotionally, mentally, is something we just held on to. And you know what? It's time to release it. Have faith and trust in you, right? So, how are we all doing? Do you want to hear one more little hookum? I can open up a book for a little wisdom. I'll try to make this one short and brief. I kind of been missing you all because, as you know, I was gone for solstice, and I didn't get a chance for Christmas. Had a beautiful, beautiful day with my dad, and had a beautiful day with Tom as well. A lot of beautiful insight. And yeah, life is actually pretty beautiful in my opinion, no matter what's going on. I just feel extremely blessed, and I want to just share that blessing with you in hopes that you're finding your peace and your ease and your grace for yourselves. So thank you for showing up, for being here tonight. Ooh. This is really, really resonating. Oof. And by the way, if you don't have any rose quartz, it does the heart good. This is a pyramid I got years ago at a little place. And I don't know. Sometimes I come back to my pieces and just look, there's all sorts of... Sometimes there's an image in there that it just shows itself to you at different times. And I have to admit, I usually sleep with rocks under my pillow, and I hadn't been for a while. And I'm back to that again, by the way, right? This is another piece of my vanadinite. On that side, it's really nice and brilliant with the crystals. And on this side, it looks a little bit more dulled. Isn't that awesome? Very unique. And that's gemstone quality too, by the way. So these pieces that I do have, that, Tom's probably shown you the piece that I gave him as well. These are extremely special. It's a very high vibration stone in my opinion. I tend to resonate with very high vibration stones. I don't expect everybody to be able to handle the things that I work with. And I don't, you know what, sometimes I go through phases where I'm not playing with my stones. And that's just, I wear my bracelets. Tonight we have Lakshmi. She's a beautiful deity. She's also about abundance, but she's also about joy, the female joy. Coventina is the wishing well, and this is imagine, so bringing through the portal of imagine, bringing through your wants, wishes, and desires, and however they're going to unfold. And I already showed you I have the raw rhodochrosite. Isn't that awesome? I also have some necklaces and such. Yeah. This pendant, and this gets a lot of attention, by the way. I didn't even realize Digby had been here. I totally forgot because I was so excited about coming home that he was over at Serenity Now up until the other day, and I finally got in there the day he was leaving, so I didn't get the time to spend with him, and I was kind of like sad about it because normally when I come back from solstice, he's always there while I'm gone. And on that Saturday when I came back, I was so excited to come home to Tom that I totally forgot about going by there, and I was like, oh my gosh. The only reason I knew he was there again was because I went to the Nature's Food Patch and the woman looked at my bracelet, my pendant. So this is a blessed stone. It's an angel aura quartz crystal. What that means, and then this stone is blessed by John of God down in Brazil. So the energy of this necklace expands out several football fields, which means that my energy is that wide and reaches that far. And so another thing is because I wear these when I do my meditations and all of my practice. These are also blessed by John of God. These are blue obsidian earrings. You can see the little pendants. And then I wear my Larimar, right? Yeah, my energy is also infused in what I wear. So I've had this for years. I don't even know how many years I've had this now that I'm thinking about it. I can't remember if I got it before I went to Italy in 2011 or if it was when I came back in 2013. I want to say it was before I got my Larimar. That's how long I think I've had it. And so, these are just special pieces to me, and I almost feel naked without them. There's certain things, especially my rings, and I do have little baby heart attacks if I feel like I've misplaced them. But they've always found their way back to me. Now, there have been pieces over the years that I've lost, and you know what? It's okay. That's, again, another reason to not be attached to anything. Moldavite, oh, right? High vibration stones, moldavite, the tektites. I have golden tektite. I also have these little black ones. Those are high vibration too, right? I have a zestulite. Danburite's another high vibration, as well as phenacite. Those are like the big ones right there. There's that other one that's type of Lemuria, the Lemurian one. But stones have always fascinated me. So, we're going to open up the Gifts of Grace, 5 Aids for Inner Growth. And this is gleanings from the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. They were out of, very high vibing. I know, I love those stones. This is, so Auroville in India, which is not far from Pondicherry, is where they have this community that the Mother and Sri Aurobindo actually created. And so this is where I actually got these books. So what I pulled open, and again, you can't make up these things. Wasn't looking at the page number until this moment. 113. I'm seeing a lot of 11s. 13, 3 is my number, and now I see 13 live. Now I see 11. I'm telling you, just numbers. Numbers are always telling me something. So here's the title of what I opened up to. Trust can exist in different parts of the being. Which is the part in every one of you in which you have the greatest faith in the divine grace? That's a question, by the way. Let me read that again. Trust can exist in different parts of the being. Which is the part in every one of you in which you have the greatest faith in the divine grace? So what part of your being do you feel the most trust and have the greatest faith in the divine grace? It's like when we were doing the breathing exercise earlier. Where did you feel the most energy? Where did you feel yourself the most? In what part of your body? So if you're just tuning in and you didn't see earlier, I led us through a breath awareness. It can be in the physical, it can be in the vital, it can be in the psychic, and it can be in this part or that, or this activity or that other. There are people, for example, who have absolutely a kind of mental realization of contact with the grace, of faith in the grace, and then as soon as they are in their vital or physical consciousness, there is nothing anymore. There are others, on the contrary, who even physically in their body, who perhaps don't have much mental knowledge in their body, who perhaps in their physical consciousness, who perhaps don't have much mental knowledge, but who in their physical consciousness have an absolute faith in the divine grace and a total trust, and they live like that in this faith and trust. So let me say that again. There are people who have absolutely a kind of mental realization of contact with the grace, of faith in the grace, and then as soon as they are in their vital or physical consciousness, there is nothing anymore. But there are others, on the contrary, who even physically in their body, who perhaps don't have much mental knowledge, but who in their physical consciousness have an absolute faith in the divine grace and a total trust, and they live like that in this faith and trust. Sometimes too much knowledge takes away from the really true inner knowing. Others still have it only in their deep feelings, and their thoughts are a vagabond. And there are others who have even a vital faith. These are rare, but they exist. Who have a vital faith in the divine grace that all will always go absolutely well, with a considerable sense of power. Can it be like this, that sometimes one has a feeling in oneself and another time it is the thought? Boy, you can't make this up. It goes aligned to what I was just speaking about, right? This is another phenomenon. It means that this faith, this trust in the divine grace, is in the psychic, behind there, like that, in the psychic, always there. So sometimes it is the feeling, sometimes it is the thought, sometimes even it is the body which is in the contact with the psychic, under the influence of the psychic, even without knowing it. And at that moment, this kind of trust of faith comes in front like that and supports. This happens when one has momentary contacts with his psychic. For example, when you find yourself in very great difficulty or a very great physical danger, and suddenly feel this force coming into you, the force of a faith, an absolute trust in the divine grace which helps you. So it means that there is a conscious contact with one's psychic and it comes to help you. It is a special grace bestowed. That is, according to the part which is active or according to the necessity of the moment. It is here or there is that suddenly you feel this trust which takes possession of you and guards you. It is like that from the mother. Sometimes it's really hard to stay the course, to truly trust in that inner knowing, because the thought may try to come and hijack the heart, right? How many of you out there can relate to that? 3 stumbling blocks of faith without trust. If your faith is not made of a complete trust in the divine, well, you may very well easily remain under the impression that you have faith and yet be losing all trust in the divine power or divine goodness or the trust the divine has in you. These are the 3 stumbling blocks. Those who have what they call an unshakable faith in the divine and say, it is the divine who is doing everything, who can do everything, all that happens in me, in others, everywhere, is the work of the divine and the divine alone. If they follow this with some kind of logic, after some time they will blame the divine for all the most terrible wrongs which take place in the world and make of him a real demon, cruel and frightful, if they have no trust. Or again, they do have faith, but tell themselves, well, I have faith in the divine, but this world I see quite well what it's like. First of all, I suffer so much, don't I? I am very unhappy, far more unhappy than all my neighbors. For one is always far more unhappy than one's neighbors. I am very unhappy and truly life is cruel to me. But then the divine is divine. He is all goodness, all generosity, all harmony. So how is it that I am so unhappy? He must be powerless. Otherwise, being so good, how could he let me suffer so much? You hear this a lot when people lose faith and they say, well, if there's a God, why does it let all this suffering happening? Who are you to judge that it's suffering? Maybe that was and that's the hardest thing, is projecting our stories upon people. Because when we see somebody we consider worse off than ourselves, we go, oh, that poor person. Who are we to even go there? It's not my place to say that's good or bad for another person, because I don't know their circumstances and what all they came into this life to experience. And for me to say that poor person is condescending just as much as to say, oh, look at them, they're doing great. It's, you know what? The reality is, it's none of my business. But on the other hand, if I'm in a position where this is the discerning and the divine dance of life, there's something within us that wants to help and fix others because of the stuff that we've been through. So we project that upon others, and we see somebody we feel looks like they're worse off. So we want to fix things, but maybe, just maybe, that's part of their path. And who are we to say that's wrong when we don't know? So it's this, it's this balance. It's finding out where do I serve and how do I serve? And is that a distraction from taking care of and serving myself and using my gifts in the right way? Just like when we think we can help others, well, maybe it's not asked for. We have to question if someone wants something from us or is interested in our advice or our solutions and ways to help them. We have to allow them to also be open to receiving us and not just impose ourselves upon another, right? This is something I've had to really work on for myself, because being all about trying to keep balance and make sure everybody's happy. If somebody doesn't look happy, I'm trying to make things better. And so maybe sometimes it's okay to let somebody be in discomfort because you're not there to fix them. And that's just as much imposing yourself as, again, the subtlest form of control is thinking you know better for someone else and you don't have a clue. A lot of times we don't have a clue for ourselves, which is why I say you have to tap into your own inner wisdom. You have to find that true guru within you. Don't idolize someone else. Don't take anybody's word for it. Do your own personal research, your own inner journey, your own intuition and intimacy. Into me I see. Tune into what works for you and what resonates for you. Don't let's take my word for anything. You may resonate with something, but again, like I told you in the beginning, it's probably because that inner wisdom was already in you. All I did was remind you or reawaken it if it did resonate. Because we're all mirrors of one another. And, when I see the beauty in you, I see that beauty in myself, because that mirror, if I see something ugly, it's just as much mine as it is the person I see. And that's really the true wisdom and beauty in all. One of the karmic sutras, the Aquarian Age sutras that Yogi Bhajan gave us was, recognize the other as you. He also gave us, if you can't see God in all, you can't see God at all. Which means, hello, we are all divine. There's no denying that except for when we deny it within ourselves, right? Or in another. So, cursing that which we consider the divine because it's not working out the way we think it should, because the divine should be taking care of it, everything and anything. That's the second stumbling block. The third, there are people who have what may be called a warped and excessive modesty or humility, and who will tell themselves, surely the divine has thrown me out. I am good for nothing. He can do nothing with me. The only thing for me is to give up the game, for he finds me unworthy of him. So unless one adds to faith a total and complete trust in the divine grace, there will be difficulties. So both are necessary. Trust and faith, we say divine, we are divine. Do you realize that's really trusting in yourself and not constantly going into self-doubt and fear? That we are all source and that we have more control than we even give ourselves credit. When we fear failure, it's because we're fearing success just as much. Dis-ease and ease, they can't live or exist without the other. The polarities are there to remind you the imbalance. When you see the dark and you don't see the light, it's showing that your focus is not in the moment. If you see true and false and good and bad, again, you're not present in the moment. You're caught in that paradigm, that pendulum swinging. You're just dancing, right? Oh, thank you so very much. I'm very grateful to hear that. Thank you, Terry. And it's when you all reach out to me and I get these beautiful messages that it helps me too. You don't know how much you also inspire me and remind me that we're all here to serve one another. You serve me just as much as when you tell me that I've helped you, because it helps me help me too. That's the beauty in community. That's beauty in relationship. We grow most through relationship, because that's when we're confronted and faced with our beauty and our ugly, our dark and our light. And when we embrace it all, it's all perfect, right? So, I love these books. Ooh, the potentiality of the seed. I could talk all night. You realize I missed you all so much. Ooh. So I'm just good because I love this book, right? The Book of Secrets by Osho. This Gifts of Grace, that was appropriate for what I just spoke of, right? Oh, that's so sweet. Mwah! It really is about where attention goes, energy flows, right? So if you're in the moment and something is beautiful, just gush over it. Just be like, oh my gosh, how beautiful. I love this life. This is exactly why I'm here. This is what I'm here to experience. And you know what? Even the icky stuff is like, you should sit there and go, I'm here now in this. How great is that? If I didn't have the ick, how could I appreciate the mush, the good stuff, right? That's why baboofas are fun, by the way. Okay, this is chapter 48. What does 4 and 8 equal? It equals 12 and it equals 3. I'm not making it up. 3 again. It's all good. So, here's what we're going to read. I got to move my leg because I'm kind of getting uncomfortable sitting so long. I broke a little chip of the rhodochrosite stone off already. Oh, ooh, my ankles. I also have 2 stones that I absolutely love down here. I love them in pairs. It's Numite, which is a god stone. I think I read about it the other night. I might not have read about it. I thought I did. So, here we go. The first question. Actually, I want to get this question that's over here on the left. I'm going to put these over here for a moment. So, last night you said that a Krishna, a Christ, a Buddha is the climax of human possibility and growth, and then you said that yogic and tantric psychology put no ideal before man, and that to have an ideal is a mistake according to Tantra. In this reference, please explain what is the difference between an inspiration and an ideal? What is the significance of inspiration in a seeker's life? Please tell whether even being inspired by a great man is a mistake on the path of a meditator. So, doesn't that sound interesting? Wow, this is going to be way too much to read all of it, but I'm going to read some of it because I'm curious. So he says, a Buddha, a Krishna, or a Christ is not an ideal for you. You are not to follow them. I have strong connections to what people call the Ascended Masters and angels and archangels and spirit guides, and I have my own personal guides and such. But they're not gurus in my mind. They're just guides. Like, they came into this life, most of them were human. Most of them lived a human incarnation. And all they were speaking of was the stuff that we speak of now, where we're all one, that we do have a connection to one another. We're here to serve. We're not here to be martyrs. We're not here to be slaves to one another. We're here to serve one another. And so the teachings of where all they were just trying to do is say, hey, like Jesus said, I am the Son of God, as are you, the sons and daughters of God. He wasn't saying he was singular, the only son. That's just the interpretation of some of these men, right? And so, if you follow them, you will miss them, and your own Buddhahood will never be achieved. Buddhahood is the ideal, not Buddha. Christhood is the ideal, not Jesus. Buddhahood is different from Gautam Buddha. Christhood is different from Jesus. Jesus is only one of the Christs. You can become a Christ, but you can never become a Jesus. You can become Buddha, but you can never become Gautam. Gautam became a Buddha, and you can become a Buddha. Buddhahood is a quality. It is an experience. Of course, when Gautam became a Buddha, Gautam had his own individuality. You have your own individuality. When you will become a Buddha, those two Buddhas will not be the same. The innermost experience will be the same, but the expression will be different. It's absolutely different. No comparison is possible. Only at the innermost core will you be the same. Why? Because at the innermost core, there is no individuality. The individual is on the periphery. The deeper you move, the more the individual dissolves. At the innermost core, you are as if no one. At the innermost core, you are just a deep void, a nothingness, a shunya, a zero. And because of this nothingness, there is no difference, because two nothings cannot be different. But two somethings are bound to be different. Two somethings can never be the same, and two nothings can never be different. Isn't that rad? When one becomes just absolutely nothing, a 0 point, that is similar in a Jesus, in a Krishna, in a Buddha. When you will reach to the ultimate, you will reach to this shunya, this nothingness. But your personality, your expression of that ecstasy is bound to be different. A Mira will dance. A Buddha can never dance. It is impossible to conceive a Buddha dancing. It looks absurd. But Mira sitting under a Bodhi tree like a Buddha also looks absurd. She will lose everything. She will not be a Mira at all. She will be an imitation. The real Mira can only be conceived of as dancing in her ecstasy, in her own love madness. That is her expression. The innermost core is the same. With Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree and Mira dancing in mad ecstasy, the innermost core is the same. In the dancing Mira, and in the silent sitting Buddha, who is just like a statue, the innermost core is the same, but the periphery is different. Contrast, people, contrast. There is no individual personality that is unique, that is the same as another. They are all individual and unique expressions. The dancing and silent sitting are just on the periphery. If you move within Mira, as you go deeper, the dance will cease. The Mira will cease. If you go deeper into Buddha, the sitting will cease. The Buddha will cease as an individual. You can become a Buddha, but you can never become a Gautam Buddha. That is what is meant. Don't make them your ideals, otherwise you will start imitating them. And what can you do if you imitate? You can force something from without. But that will be a fake phenomenon. You will look Buddha-like more than Buddha. You can look, but that will just be a look. An appearance, deep down, you will remain the same, and this will create a duality, a conflict, an inner anguish, and you will be in suffering. You can be in bliss where you are authentically yourself. You can never feel any happiness when you are acting as someone else. So remember Tantra's message. You are the ideal. You are not to imitate anyone. You are to discover yourself. Looking at a Buddha, there is no need to imitate him. When you are looking at a Buddha, the possibility hits deep in you that something of the beyond can happen. Buddha is just a symbol that something has happened to this man. And if it can happen to this man, it can happen to every man. Then the whole possibility of humanity is revealed. In a Jesus, in a Mira, in Chaitanya, just a possibility is revealed. The future is revealed. You need not be whatsoever you are. Something more is possible. So Buddha is just a symbol of the future. Don't imitate him. Rather, let his life, his being, the phenomenon that is happening, become a new thirst in you. That is all. You must not be content with yourself as you are right now. Let a Buddha become a discontent in you, a thirst to transcend, to go beyond, to move into the unknown. When you reach to the peak of your own being, you will know what happened to Buddha under the Bodhi tree, or what happened to Jesus on the cross, or what happened to Mira when she was dancing in the streets. You will know, but your expression will be your own. You are not going to be a Mira or a Buddha or a Jesus. You are going to be yourself, and you have never been before. You are unique. Isn't that juicy? You be you, baby. That's all it's telling you. Let you be the highest expression of who you are within. So nothing can be said. You are not predictable. No one can say what will happen, how you will manifest it, whether you will sing, dance, paint, or remain silent. No one can say. And it is good that nothing can be said, nothing can be predicted, that it is the beauty. If it is predictable that you will be like this or that, then you will become a mechanical thing. Predictions are possible only about mechanical devices. Human consciousness is unpredictable. That is its freedom. What does freedom mean to you? So when Tantra says don't follow ideals, it doesn't mean to deny Buddha. No, it is a denial. Really, it is how you can find your own Buddhahead, your Buddhahood. Buddhahead, Buddhahood. I'm playing with words again. Following another, you will miss it. Following your own path, you can gain it and you can achieve it. Someone came to a Zen master, Bokuju. Bokuju's master was very famous, well known, a very great man. So someone asked, "Are you really following your master?" Bokuju said, "Yes, I am following him." But the man who asked the question was disturbed because it was well known all over the country that Bokuju was not following his master at all. So the man asked, "Are you trying to deceive me? Everyone knows, and you are also aware that you are not following your own master at all. And still you say that you are following. What do you mean?" Bokuju said, "I am following my master because my master never followed his master. This is what I have learned from him. He was himself. This is how a Buddha, a Jesus is to be followed. This is how they are unique. If you are really following them, you must be unique. We're not here to imitate anybody or mirror them perfectly." Buddha never followed anyone, and he achieved enlightenment only in that moment when he had completely stopped following. When he became himself, when he left all paths, all teachings, all doctrines, then he could achieve. If you follow him, you are not following him. It is not paradoxical. It only looks so. If you follow him as a dead routine, if you imitate him, you are not following him. He never followed anyone. And only then could he become the peak. Understand him, don't follow him, and then a subtle following will happen. But that is inner, not in imitation. In Nietzsche's great work, Thus Spake Zarathustra, the last message of Zarathustra to his disciples is, "Beware of me. Now I have told you everything that was to be told to you. Now beware of me. Don't follow me, just forget me. Leave me and go away." This is the last message of all the great masters. No great master would like you to make a puppet, because then he is killing you. If he is a murderer, then he will not help you to be yourself. And if you cannot be yourself in the intimacy and communication with your master, then where will you be in yourself? Into me I see. The master means an opportunity for you to be yourself. Only small minds, narrow minds, who pretend to be masters and who are not masters will try to impose themselves on you. Great masters will help you to grow on your path, and great masters will create every barrier so that you don't become a victim of following. They will create, yes, and it says it again, they will create every barrier. See, this was kind of one of the things for Yogi Bhajan, that he was known as what they called a Saturn teacher, meaning he might not have been the kindest teacher to some people, because maybe that's what they needed for them to grow in themselves. And sometimes that's what a true master does. They're not going to kill. They're not always going to cover you up and say it's going to be okay. Sometimes they let you stand on your own. And so they will not allow it, because your tendency will be to follow. It is easy. Imitation is easy. To be authentic is arduous. And when you imitate, you don't feel responsible for it. The master is responsible. No great master has ever allowed anyone to imitate. He will create every hindrance so that you cannot imitate him. He will throw you by every means to yourself. I am reminded of one Chinese saint who was celebrating his master's enlightenment day. Many followers had come. They said, "But we never heard that this man was your master. We never knew that you belonged to this man. That old man was dead." They said, "Only today did we come to hear and know that you were celebrating your master's enlightenment day. This man was your master? But how? We never saw you with him." The saint replied, "I have been with him, but he had refused. He had refused to become my master, and because of his refusal, I could become myself. Now, whatsoever I am, is because of his refusal. I would have thrown all responsibility on his shoulders, but he refused. And he was the last man. There was no comparison. When he refused, I could not go to anyone else, because he was the only shelter. If he had refused, then there was no meaning, no purpose in going anywhere. I left going to anyone. He was the last. If he would have accepted me, I would have forgotten myself. But he refused, and he refused very rudely. The refusal became a shock and a challenge. And I decided that now I would not go to anyone. If this man had refused, then there was no one worth going to. Then I started working on my own. And only then did I realize by and by why he had refused. He had thrown me to myself, and only then did I know that he had accepted me. Otherwise, why should he refuse? This looks contradictory, but this is how the deeper dynamism, I can't even say the word, dynamism of consciousness works. Masters are mysterious. You cannot judge them. You cannot be sure what they are doing unless the whole thing happens. Then only in retrospect will you be able to know what they were doing. Now it is impossible. On the middle path, you cannot judge what is happening, what is being done. But one thing is certain, imitation cannot be allowed. Inspiration is a different thing. Through inspiration, you start on the journey, not on any effort of copying. You move on your own path. Inspiration is just a challenge. A thirst arises, and then you move. Tantra says, be inspired. But don't become imitators. Always remember that you are your own goal. No one else can be, and unless you achieve that point from where you can say, I have achieved my destiny, and now I am fulfilled. Don't stop. Go on transcending. Go on being in discontent. Go on moving. And if you don't make any ideal, then you can be enriched by everyone. The moment you become obsessed with an ideal, you are closed. If you become obsessed with Buddha, then Jesus is not for you. Then how can Muhammad be for you? Then you are obsessed with an ideal. Then you are trying to copy it. Then all the contrary ones, all the different ones are inimical in your mind. How can a follower of Mahavira conceive of being open to Muhammad? It is impossible. He is totally different. Not only different, they are contraries. They look like polar opposites. If you put both in your mind, you will be in deep conflict. So you cannot put both. That is why followers are always enemies of others' followers. They create an enmity in the world. A Hindu cannot conceive that Muhammad can be enlightened. A Mohammedan, it's actually Mohammedan, cannot conceive that Mahavira can be enlightened. A follower of Krishna cannot conceive that Mahavira can be enlightened and that Jesus can be enlightened. Jesus looks so sad and Krishna looks so blissful. Krishna's bliss and Jesus' sadness are total opposite poles. Jesus' followers cannot conceive Krishna being enlightened. So much misery in the world and he is playing on his flute. It looks to be too selfish. The whole world is suffering and he goes on dancing with his gopis. Gopis. The followers of Jesus will think this is too profane to be profane. But I say followers. A Jesus and a Buddha and a Krishna can exist together without any problem, without any conflict. Rather, that will enjoy each other very much. But not the followers. Why? Why is this so? This will be so because there is a deep psychological reason. The follower is not concerned with Muhammad or Mahavira. He is concerned with himself. If he thinks both are good, he will be in difficulty. Then whom to follow and what to do? Muhammad is with his sword in his hand, and Mahavira says that even to kill an insect means that for lives you will suffer. Muhammad is with his sword, so what to do? Muhammad goes to war, and Mahavira escapes from life completely. He escapes so much that he is even afraid to breathe. Because while you breathe, many lives are killed through it. He is afraid to breathe, and Muhammad goes to war. How can a follower of either make accommodations for the opposite? See the duality in life and in so many different followings and faiths. Then his heart will be divided and he will be in constant conflict. To avoid this, he says that everyone else is wrong and only this is right, but this is his problem. This is created because he is trying to imitate. There is no need. If you are not an imitator, then you can taste the water of many rivers and many wells, and there is no problem if the taste differs. Rather, it is beautiful. You are enriched by this. Then you are open to Muhammad, Mahavira, and Christ, and Zarathustra, and everyone. They all inspire you toward yourself. They are not ideals. They all help you to be yourself. They are not pointing towards themselves. They are pointing towards you in different ways, in different methods. They are pointing to one goal, and that is you. Uniquely you. Laura Huxley has written a book. The name of the book is You Are Not the Target. But I tell you, you are the target of all these, of Buddha, of Mahavira, of Krishna, of Christ. They all indicate towards you. You are the target. You are the goal. Through your life, through your life is striving to achieve a unique peak, be happy about it. Be grateful about it. Life is trying to achieve a unique goal through you. And that goal can be achieved only through you. No one else can achieve it. You are meant for it. You are destined for it. So don't waste time following others. But that doesn't mean not to get inspired. Really? If you are not following anyone, you can become inspired easily. If you are following, you have become dead. You will not get inspired. Inspiration is an openness. Following is being closed. Powerful stuff, don't you think? So simple, yet so profound. So the truth is, in all that was basically said, you be you. Don't try to be anyone else. Don't allow someone to take you out of your personal power. The true inspiration, the spirit within that's breathed into you daily, in this moment here now, is you. And there's only one of you. which is why this group is so rad. Because we want you to be unapologetically, ridiculously raw and real in your authenticity. Because we're all here to serve in our own unique capacity. And that's what I want to impart upon you all for this new year. Stop trying to be anybody or anything that you've ever felt you needed to be. Stop trying to hold on to this ideal vision of what it's supposed to look like and feel like and taste like and touch. Allow life to show up to you. But first, be in gratitude for what you have. All the beauty and the wisdom you've amassed in your life, embracing every aspect of who you've ever been. Go back to the breathing, the breath awareness that I took you through earlier in this video. Take the time for you to really tune in and tap back into every part of you, where you've been and where you are in the moment. Only then, when you truly integrate and embrace and honor and accept yourself right here, right now in this, will you be in the richness and the fullness, the sensuality of who you are in your essence. And that's my wish for you in this new year, that you can carry that forward with ease and grace in this divine dance. Life is a gift. Unwrap your presence and share it with the world. It's your time. Step into your personal power, into the unknown, the fear, a little discomfort. It's all beautiful, because there's comfort even in the discomfort. I love you all. I want you all to have an amazing evening, sweet dreams, and let's rock this year, 2018. Keep it raw, stay rad. I love you. What?